Hi there, I'm Jack from HaloVet. I'm just going to show you how to attach the HaloVet system onto the Manta 3 safety hat, which is the one with the inbuilt eye protection. So obviously we need our existing head torch and our battery pack from our previous head torch. And then what we're going to do is first of all, we're going to mount the front assembly, which is this bit, which is in our fire engine red. What we're going to do is there's a little groove in this clip just here, and we're going to insert that in right at the side of the little small brim that there is on the front of the hat. So we're going to slide it in from the very, very side, just like that. Sometimes it's easier to actually bring the eyewear out a little bit, just give you a bit more clearance, and then you can slide that just round to the front there like that. And then we're going to attach the two front mounting straps. These are the ones that come with the press stud attachments. Slot those over the little anchor points on the front assembly, and then we're going to push those onto the press studs at the side. Quite a snug fit often for those press studs, so you do have to push them firmly. And then we're going to do exactly the same, but just on the other side. And that gives you some tension then, which holds that front assembly very nicely in place. And if you ever want to take it off, it's just the same process but in reverse, so just pulling off those press studs and undoing it. Then we're going to do the rear assembly, which is where we have the battery is contained. So to do that, we first of all need to put the hat anchors on. So these are these, and they fit into these vents here. If some versions of the hat you'll get that have a fluorescent cover on, just slide those out sideways, and then you've got plenty of space there. So we're going to put these rear hat anchors in. Just sometimes these holes are very snug, so you do have to do steady, firm pressure. So we're going to snug the rear one in first and just start to push that in with firm pressure. And then once that sits in, then you'll be able to push the more forward ones in properly, and you'll hear a good positive click there. And then we'll do exactly the same with the other one. So again, pushing it firmly into that rear piece first, and then into the more forward ones afterwards. There we are. So that's our rear hat anchors in place. Those are pretty tricky to take out, but they're not particularly offensive or protruding. So even if we do take the system off the hat, we tend to just leave these in place. And then we're going to put the rear battery mount in. This is really, really simple. Often again, easy just to move the rear head strap on it just to get more access. And that little lip just there is going to snug straight in there, and then all we're doing is just pulling the straps straight over those anchors there, and that's enough to keep the system nice and snugly in place. And then our last part is our USB clip at the side, and this just goes very nicely into the pre-made fixture there, just with a normal buckle style clip. So as you advance that in, it just sits there in place, and if you want to take it out, again, just fingertip pressure there and that will come out. So we're going to slide that in. All we need now to do is attach our USB extension and the actual head torch itself. So the head torch, again, we kept our bolt from earlier. That just slides into the front light mount there through those little fittings. Can be a little bit snug, so just go nice and steadily with gentle pressure, and it will just work its way in between those points. And then important just to make sure that that hole is properly lined up with the mounting. So I've got that miles off. So we'll just snug that in, and we've got a nice straight hole. And then we're just going to pop our bolt straight in there. Now sometimes you do actually have to sort of screw this into the mount. It tends to be a nice snug fit, and that will then sort of carry its way through. And then we are just going to secure it at the far end with a little nut that we include in the kit as well. It just allows you to tighten it up a bit better, which stops your actual torch from having too much slop in it, so you can keep it at a nice tension so it doesn't tend to move around too much. But I find that you can actually just snug that up with your fingers. You don't have to use a tool or anything to do it. Just finger tightness is enough to keep everything just where you want it on a daily basis. So just going to pop our little nut just on the other end. And again, that's just friction. So you can see there, that's a nice amount of friction that's not constantly moving around, but it's enough just to keep it where you want it. Our USB cable, then we're going to run around the side. I find it's much neater if we snug it under this front band here. So we just pop that under, keeps the cable out of the way. And then we're going to attach our USB cable to the existing one just to make it a bit longer. Pop those together like that, and then those will fit very nicely just up into the USB cover. And again, you'll get a little positive click when they fit in, and then there's a little clip round at the back. Some of the Mantas have actually two, one slightly above this, and just use that to snug that in. Again, it just helps to take some of the tension off the cable. Then we're going to pop our little battery unit in. So our battery cover here has a little button on it. Once you push that, it will push the power button on your battery pack just to allow it to activate. Easiest thing to do is slide the cover up. There's some little security lugs on the bottom of it, so if it is a bit stiff, just sort of slightly stretch it out this way and it will just allow it to slide up a lot better. This reveals the actual battery holder. No need to be too forceful with it, but just gentle sprung pressure and that will hold in place nice and securely. What I'd always recommend is keeping your battery cover on top of it. It just protects the armatures there and stops them from breaking if things get thrown around, as they tend to by vets. And then we'll pop our battery cover back over. That also gives us protection from the rain, because obviously if we get water onto these battery units, they tend to make a high-pitched whining noise before they stop working, and that's not good for the battery. And then we're just going to pop our USB cable straight into the bottom there. If you find that you've not got enough slack and it's a bit tight, just pull some through from here, just like that, and then you're ready to go. Push of the button there, and then your light source is coming on, and away we are. Really quick and simple. If you want to take the setup off, same as before then, I would just unplug your light source. You can just pull firmly down on the battery pack. That'll allow it to release, and you can take those off. Spring-loaded USB cover there, so just unclip that, take your wire out, and then just your press studs off the front. Same again on this side. And there you are, back to the hat with only the hat anchors remaining.